Wouldn't it be nice if thoughts actually created reality? I mean, wouldn't that just be the most beautiful thing ever? Because it would mean that you could be in control of your life. You would be in charge of what happens to you and does not happen. And that's why this idea that thoughts create reality is so appealing to many, almost magical. I mean, if your thoughts really created reality, wouldn't that mean that you can just say, all right, I'm a billionaire, not even a multi-millionaire, a billionaire, a multi-billionaire, okay, and I just thought the thought, and then it comes to be, then it manifests. Boy, wouldn't that be something? Or you could just think, okay, Scarlett Johansson, I want to go out on a date with her tonight, okay? And that date should begin with a kiss, a long, drawn-out kiss. And if thoughts create reality, I could just think that, and that's what would happen tonight, later in the day, right? Or I could think, okay, I want to enter a flying saucer and explore the universe for a couple of weeks. Go on a holiday and visit different planets. Okay, so I'm just going to sit here and think that, and then that's going to come true. Wouldn't that be brilliant? And many of you sitting there are going to be skeptical for good reason. And science, or current science, modern science, rejects that idea out of hand entirely, also for good reason. They say that doesn't work. And many authority, spiritual authority figures, religious authority figures, they also reject it. It's called magical thinking. But many advocates of reality creation and law of attraction say that's the way it works. Okay, if you've watched the very popular movie The Secret, they say that's actually the way it works. You sit down, you think something or visualize it, and then it comes true. Having been a teacher of reality creation for a long, long time, it's the job I do every day for the last 25 years. I'm a coach in consciousness, success, and manifestation. I actually agree with those scientists and authority figures. That's not exactly the way it works, okay? What I disagree with them on is that it doesn't work altogether, that it's all magical thinking. I do believe that your thoughts literally create reality, okay? But not in the way I just explained, not in the way I just described. It might work that way. I mean, I've had things manifest for me instantly many, many times in my life, okay? But that's not the general way it works, because this way of instant manifestation, that's the way it works at higher levels of consciousness, or when you're out of body. If you've ever been out of body, you know this. You think a certain thought and you get it instantly. You think something and you're right there, right away. It's also how it happens on Dreamscape, when you're having night dreams or lucid dreams. But it's not necessarily wise to mistake that higher level of consciousness or dream reality with physical reality, even though physical reality is in some way a dream. And it's not wise to teach people that are on a regular, daily life, linear, normal level of consciousness this way of manifesting only. Okay, otherwise, if they don't have an option of manifesting in linear time rather than instantly, they set expectations and then they get disappointed that my stuff doesn't manifest, and then they give up the idea of thoughts create reality altogether, which is unfortunate. And it's also very unfortunate that current science, or rationalism, or scientism, it's actually a cult in some way, because they believe that consciousness is produced by the brain or by chemicals and other such nonsense, whereas we know that consciousness is an infinite field that expands way beyond matter, way beyond chemicals, way beyond the body. But that's a story for another video. It's unfortunate that they reject that. So, how does it actually work in my expert view? Well, if you look honestly at your life, okay, if you're really interested in the truth of how this works, all you have to do is look at your life. Don't believe me, don't believe other law of attraction teachers, don't believe other success coaches, don't believe scientists, don't believe spiritual authority figures. Just to look for yourself. You can prove this to yourself. Look at things that exist in your life, okay, such as your current job. Just your current job as an example. The current job or career you have. And then trace that back and look how it started, how it first started before that job came to be. And what do you find if you look? I'm not going to tell you, I'm just asking you to look. Or let's say you're married or single. How did that start? If you trace it back before you were married, before you were single, how did it start? What was the beginning? I'd suggest that in 99% of the cases, it's easy to see that it began with a small thought. It began with a consideration. Okay? That's how almost everything begins, with a small passing thought that you just had one day. And we have many small passing thoughts. Many of them never manifest, to be entirely honest, okay? Because we don't develop them. We don't think them again. So let's say you had this small passing thought of getting a certain job or being a certain profession. And then you didn't think about it for a couple of weeks. It went away again. And then a couple of weeks later, you might have read an article somewhere that reminded you of it, and then you thought about it again, considered again. You might have said, oh, that would be interesting, or I could be that, or I wish I could be that, or something like that. Okay, and then maybe a couple of months later, you thought about it again, and then you thought about it again, and the more you thought about it, the more similar thoughts were accumulated, and you started seriously considering it. And then there came a time you thought about it so much, that you felt the urge to act upon it. You felt the urge to make decisions. You felt the urge to make firm intentions. It's like, oh, I'm thinking about this so much. I'm so full of it. I finally have to do something about it. I have to make a decision now. Enough is enough. Okay, and that's when the thought started becoming a dominant thought, and it started to take root in your subconscious. That means you started feeling it, and you started perceiving things related to it, noticing shows and articles and conversations and objects and stuff related to it. And finally, the thought became so dominant that you felt compelled to decide, okay, to make decisions in certain directions, not in other directions. Felt compelled to act upon those thoughts. So that's a beautiful truth-finding exercise. If you're really interested in the truth of how reality is created, all you have to do is really look, take a close and honest look at how what you've already created, what's already in your life, actually came to be. originally, regardless of whether it's negative or positive. Okay, so let's say you're married, for example, and you're pretending that you don't enjoy your marriage, for example. I'd say, well, there was a day that you really wanted that, or you really resisted it. Both is attention on marriage. So you might have said, you might have had a small thought, I could get married, or I want to get married, or it'd be nice if I'd married, or even, I never want to get married. You see, I never want to get married is also attention on marriage. And eventually you thought about a certain person that you wanted to marry, for example, so often, you were so full of that person that you just had to act. And then if that person also thought about you all the time, those two dominant thoughts eventually led to this, to the merging of you two. Now, if you got rejected by that person, your mind would even go even more crazy and go like, oh my God, I got rejected. I really have to do this now. Okay, I'll find somebody else. I really have to achieve this or whatever. So both positive and negative events form us in the direction of certain realities. That's how everything came to be, and I find that profoundly important and profoundly interesting. Okay, so the normal reality creation process is usually a long linear time and a little bit longer. Okay, it takes a little bit longer than that instantaneous manifestation they tell you about in all these movies and books. This magical thinking type of new agey type of thinking that insists that you can manifest it now, which puts many people under undue pressure, by the way. Totally unnecessary to teach that that's the only good way to manifest. It's just one way that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. But you want a reliable method that always works? Well, that's it. It starts with a little thought, more thinking of it, more thinking about it, more thinking as it, eventually turns to emotion, that eventually turns to decisions and intentions, which eventually turn to actions, and at the end you have a reality. I have a whole video on this called The Reality Creation Process that I published a couple of years ago that explains it quite well and lucidly. Okay? Now my job as a reality creation coach is to shorten that process, because often, if it happens sort of semi or subconsciously, it can take years for something to manifest, with many ups and downs, many deciding differently and not being firm in one's decisions, going back and forth between different thoughts. And it can take years and years for something to manifest, and my job is simply to shorten it by helping people to stay focused on one thing, for example. That's one way to shorten it. Another way to shorten it is to put yourself into the place of the wish already fulfilled, to skip the whole process and just put yourself there and remain there as long as possible and act and decide from that place, because your decisions will be entirely different, and so forth and so on. Okay, I have several books on the topic of how to speed up that process. And that's why I love my career so much. That's why I've chosen it. And that's why I've stuck with the career of being a reality creation coach, regardless of the many ups and downs, regardless of outside criticism, regardless of moments of doubt, regardless of my own lack of abundance back in the day. I just stuck with it because I knew it's the right thing. I knew it works. I knew it's a beautiful and mysterious process. Even to me now, having been doing this for the last 20 years, it's still mysterious how it works. It always works different than one expects, but work it does. Okay? So knowing that thoughts actually do create reality, and that it doesn't have to be a matter of years, with the right attitude, it can be shortened so that it's just a matter of months or even weeks, sometimes even days, sometimes even hours, and yes, sometimes even instantly, I confess. That's just the most amazing thing somebody can learn, in my view. That's why I've made it my career. I've enjoyed the process so much. It's given me so much. It's actually given me everything. The reality creation process has given me perfect health. My health is just absolutely perfect and has been for a long time. No injuries, none of that. I have healthy sleep. I feel good in my body. It's giving me perfect relationships to people, perfect communication with people, perfect business partnerships, perfect financial status, a perfect career, perfect creativity. Everything I have, I attribute to practicing reality creation myself. So, knowing that thoughts create reality, you can see that the main problem is just having too many thoughts. You know, we have thousands and thousands of thoughts every day, and much of the input we get are just more thoughts, you know. If you read any of the news media, for example, they're full of gossip, basically, and negative thinking. I'd avoid that, because you start to realize that your thoughts are the most precious thing. And you want to be careful of what you give your ears to hear, your eyes to read and see, and your mind to think. Okay, if thoughts have such a powerful effect over time. It's good to slow down and calm your mind, you know, and practice relaxation and meditation, because having too many thoughts won't help you. Reducing the amount of thoughts you have makes it easier for you to find clarity of what thoughts you like, what thoughts you choose. It's also very helpful to write down thoughts you prefer and thoughts you'd like to choose. It's also helpful to speak them. Writing and speaking are like physicalizing your thoughts, making them more physical and dense. So while you can't control your thinking most of the time, you can control your speaking, unless you're a gossipy, chatty person. And even more, you can control your writing, unless you're very emotional. You know that when you're writing a very emotional email, how sometimes you can't even control your writing, and that's when it's best to stop and just send it later, by the way. So, yeah, all these beliefs float around, beliefs that people have, and a belief is nothing other than a very dominant thought. A thought that has taken root in your subconscious becomes a belief, so that you no longer see it as a mere thought, you see it as reality, as a fact. Okay, that's when a thought turns into a fact, and you really believe it. And if I tell you, well, your bad situation, it's just a belief, you can't relate to what I'm saying because you're experiencing it so strongly. You can't believe it's just a belief that you can let go of. You say, no, I'm experiencing that. That's real. Those are the facts of life. Okay, that's what I'm experiencing. However, you're experiencing that because you first, before you experienced it, you first thought it. Maybe you saw it somewhere, maybe somebody else experienced it, then you considered it, then you kept thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking it, and then it came into your life, and then it became true, and then you're saying, well, that's reality, that's a fact. So most of the facts, they actually start as thoughts, and they wouldn't be absolute facts without you believing they are. Okay? Now, there's some things that are absolute facts, but those things are very, very few. And once you let go of the many beliefs you have and the many thoughts you have, especially negative ones, you can keep your positive illusions because they create positive realities. Once you let go, you start seeing what's an actual fact independent of your belief. Okay, you start seeing which medicine works independent of the placebo effect. And the amount of medicine that works independently is very, very tiny. and the amount of truths, absolute truths, rather than relative, changing truths, or contextual truths, or perceptual truths, is very small. One of those truths that work independent of what you believe is I exist. Just to give you an example, okay? You're going to exist forever, infinitely, eternally, regardless of what you believe or don't believe. So, yeah, you want to become aware of your beliefs, and you want to, actually, one of the ways to do that is to be aware of a belief as a belief, okay? A belief is like glasses that you're wearing, a filter you're wearing, and usually you're not aware of the belief itself. You're seeing through it and perceiving the world through that lens, through that filter, rather than seeing the filter itself, seeing the belief itself, calling the belief just a belief, just a thought, rather than absolute fact. But when you put on a belief, you put on those glasses, you eventually forget you're wearing glasses. You're not aware of the glasses all the time. You're more aware of what you see through the glasses. And that's why it's rather difficult for most people to let go of negative beliefs, because they're seeing through them rather than looking right at them and saying, oh, wait a minute, maybe this whole experience of mine is just my belief. And maybe I could let go of that eventually. Okay? I mean, people have all kinds of beliefs. In the last few months, I've been paying attention to what beliefs people have about taking showers, just for fun. Just as an experiment, I took one topic called taking showers, and I listened to people's belief on them, okay? And one guy, a couple of months ago, he told me, you got to take cold showers. Cold showers are much more healthy. They keep you fresh. They burn fat. And they're just awesome. I said, yeah, okay. I've been taking hot showers all my life, but why not try cold showers? It's quite unpleasant at first, but I got used to it. And I liked the idea. It was okay. It was his belief, you know, because I'd taken hot showers and I've been fine my entire life. I hadn't been unhealthy. He claimed hot showers are unhealthy, which they're not, of course. I'd say cold showers refresh you and hot showers relax you. So both have their purpose. Both hot and cold have a good purpose. And then somebody else came up and said, oh, you're taking cold showers. Well, that's good, because hot showers, they open up your pores and let all the filth in. And that's why people get all these pimples on their back. And I said, whoa, 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 wait. That's not my experience. Okay, I'm not going to let that thought take root in me. My back is clear. There's no pimples on it whatsoever. My skin has always been clear. I've been taking hot showers all my life. So with small thoughts like that, you know, it's fairly easy to reject them or to cancel them, to say, I cancel that thought. I don't accept that thought. It's different with subconscious, strong beliefs that have taken root. But with small stuff that first comes at you, it's easy if you're aware. Okay? And then another person actually told me cold showers are not healthy. They overstrain your body somehow. Your body goes into overdrive to try to compensate, and it heats up, and then after you leave the shower, it cools back down, and it makes people grow old very quick. And I said, give it a rest, you know. I'll be fine with cold showers or with hot showers. A similar contradiction happened with shampoo. Somebody once told me, well, you know, you got a lot of chemicals in that shampoo going to lead to hair loss. And some of those chemicals are also associated with cancer. What? Cancer? You know, I've been using that kind of shampoo all my life. What's your problem? They said, you better use organic shampoo. I said, yeah, okay, why not? You know, so I bought some organic shampoo. And then my girlfriend back then, she was like, it's no good, that organic shampoo. It causes rashes and pimples on my skin. And she said, I read an article once that said it causes rashes and pimples, and sure enough, it did cause rashes and pimples on her skin, but it did not cause rashes and pimples on my skin because I had not read such an article. I had not bought into such a belief, okay? So chemical, so-called chemical shampoo had not caused cancer in me, and so-called organic shampoo had not caused pimples and rashes in me. It's all good to me. If you have the right thoughts and the right beliefs, it's all fine with you. You know, people would like you to enter the shower in terror of what might happen there. You know, and then I've heard stories about don't use conditioner for more than 3 minutes, otherwise this and this will happen. Don't use conditioner at all. You should use conditioner after shampoo, otherwise the hair gets this and this. I mean, I have a paper somewhere where I wrote all the beliefs people have about showers, all the negative beliefs, you know, and I came to about 50 beliefs or so, 50 negative beliefs just about the shower. And if that's what they have just about the shower, there's no telling what they have about the rest of life. I mean, it's a mess in their minds, a total mess of negative propaganda and unclarity and gossip and fear and false information, blatantly false information. I mean, in the last few months, I've been reading different newspapers a lot just to examine what's in the world mind, in mass consciousness, and I can't believe, it's hard for me to fathom the amount of false, blatantly false information in so-called news media. And, you know, and to feel the negative intentions of various journalists, it's just amazing to me. I mean, whatever happened to the honorable profession of journalism? Anyway, that's just the way mass consciousness works in general, at a certain level of consciousness that we're at, and it used to be worse, okay? Things are getting better. It used to be much, much worse, where information was always filtered through negative lenses. And much of it is with good intention. I mean, my grandmother, okay, she always told me, you're going to slip in the shower if you don't be careful. You're going to slip, you're going to crack your head. I've known people, they've had serious, lifelong spinal and brain damage, okay, where they were vegetables and couldn't move their body. And I'm like, oh, gee, thanks, Grandma. That's a great image to go take a shower with, you know, severe brain damage. I mean, why would anyone give you such a belief when you go take a shower? Seriously, why? But then I thought about it and I realized, of course, she has good intentions. Okay, she has the intention to protect me from damage. So she's creating a really negative scenario so that I'm careful in the shower. And of course, that method is used all over the world. People think that by creating fear, they can prevent negative things from happening. Unfortunately, that it doesn't work that way. The mind is naive to believe in that method. It's been naive for many thousands of years. It believes that through fear and negativity, it can prevent negativity. You see how absurd that sounds? It's nonsense. You don't need punishment and reward mechanisms and fear mechanisms in order to act consciously, unless you're at a very low level of consciousness. Now the thing is that mankind, humankind, has been at a childlike, adolescent, low level of consciousness for the past 1,000 years, so these fear methods were somewhat valid. Okay, but as you mature and you're no longer a child in your mentality and consciousness, you're a responsible human being, you no longer need threats of negative, threats of fear, and threats of punishment in order to act appropriately. Okay, I wouldn't need my grandma to tell me that in order to consciously move in the shower, because I'm a conscious person. I'm not a hectic person or a tense person or a fearful person, so I'm not going to slip. And even if I'm slip, I'm calm enough to catch myself while I slip. And that's how, at a higher level of consciousness, you don't need fear programming. And if she knew that, if she knew that it's not helping, she'd say, "Dear grandson, taking a shower can be wonderfully refreshing. It can reset your attitude. It can make your day. It can separate you from negative energies. You just wash them off. That beautiful scent of the shampoo will take you to paradise. You know, the cold showers will refresh you. The warm showers will relax you. Neither is bad." And she'd give me beautiful messages like that. And that's basically my job as a reality creation coach, because people always bring up these horrible stories, these narratives that they've spun, and they keep repeating, and I get them by email, I get them by phone, get them by Skype, get them in person. And my job is to help people change that narrative to more pleasant but believable, realistic stories. Okay? Rather than just positive thinking, I try to pick him up in the negative, and we slowly work ourselves up. So it might be we begin with negativity level 5, and then I tell them a negativity level 1 story, okay, to bring them up, and then I might go to the positive. If you want to know more on that, check my video, The Difference Between Positive Thinking and Reality Creation. A very important message. So in any case, that's what you're dealing with, okay? I just listed a few beliefs regarding shower. There's dozens more that I've listed that people have told me. A popular one is if you don't dry your hair after your shower, you're gonna get a cold. How often have we heard that? I'm sure you've heard it too. Totally untrue unless you believe in it, and once you start believing in it, it's going to happen. Okay, I myself have never caught a cold based on wet hair. Just not true for me, does not apply to me. I cancel that belief, does not apply to me. Never will. Okay? But of course, sometimes I'm caught off guard and I'm unaware, and I do buy into certain beliefs at first, you know, because I'm just not aware all the time. I don't expect myself to be aware all the time either. And I'm caught off guard, I buy into a certain belief, then I experience it, and once I experience it, I can actually trace that back. I can say, why am I experiencing this? Well, I must have some thought or belief regarding it. And that's a very good habit, to trace your experiences back to specific beliefs. Okay, that's a very, very good exercise. Because most people, they just take their experiences as that's just what is, that's just what's going on, not realizing that they've been concerned about that for a while. They've been creating that subconsciously or consciously. Okay? So you're not aware of all the things you create anymore, unfortunately, because you suppressed a lot into your subconscious. So I'd recommend to just take every experience you have, especially negative ones, as, you know, you owning it and it having something to do with you. It's not a coincidence. Cut the word coincidence from your vocabulary. There's a reason for that, and that reason often lies within you. And once you do that, you're no longer powerless. Once you know that you have something to do with its creation, you can do something about it. You can take a breath, you know, release, and you can regain your strength and start intending other things, making other decisions. In fact, negative events are very good opportunities to make new, powerful, positive decisions that will steer you in better directions. So, do thoughts really create reality? Well, in fact, they do. So if this presentation was helpful for you, please recommend it far and wide. My name is Fred Dodson. I'm the author of the book Reality Creation and Manifestation, Parallel Realities of Self, Success Attracts Success, and many others, as well as the next level, the video course, Reality Creation and Manifestation, as well as the live seminar, Reality Creation. I hope to see you there.